Hey guys, what's up? Plastic Guy here, coming back with another figure review, and today we're taking a look at another knockoff action figure with this Storm Collectibles AliExpress Yujiro Hanma bootleg figure. The original Storm Collectibles Yujiro Hanma is one of the most incredible figures I've ever seen. When I first seen people posting pictures of that figure on Instagram, my mind was blown. I had no idea who this character even was. I was showing my friend pictures of the figure because I thought it looked so amazing, and it was him that told me about BAKI and who this guy was, and so I actually started watching the Netflix BAKI series, all based on that original Storm Collectibles piece. I also wasn't familiar with Storm Collectibles. I don't have any Storm Collectibles in the collection. I knew they released Street Fighter figures, and so I googled this figure and I was met with a £200 price mark, and I just wasn't expecting it, and I wasn't willing to part with that amount of cash for a character I'm not even familiar with. And so I just had to come to terms with the fact I was never going to have that absolutely incredible looking Storm Collectibles Yujiro Hanma figure. It was then a couple months later when I was checking out CT Toys Spidey figures on AliExpress that I seen they actually released a knockoff version of that figure for only £20, and so of course I knew that was my opportunity to get a wee bit of that original Storm Collectibles figure, and so it has finally arrived. And I definitely want to take a closer look at this guy here on the channel and see if he is actually any good. And so with that being said, guys, let me know down in the comment section below if you have this bootleg, if you have the original, what are your thoughts on it, and what are your thoughts on BAKI as a series altogether. And let's not wait any longer, let's take a closer look at this bootleg Storm Collectibles Yujiro Hanma. So as is the case with a lot of these AliExpress bootleg figures, you can choose whether you want the figure with the original packaging or without the packaging. I always choose with the box. I just like that extra level of protection in transit, and also I always put the figures back in the box after I've taken them out and played around with them, because it's a good way to store all the interchangeable parts and accessories. But despite the with packaging option, this happens all the time for some reason with AliExpress. They just flat pack the packaging and sellotape it onto, you know, the rest of the plastic. It doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, it has arrived pretty battered and beaten. The box isn't in good condition, but hey, it's a £20 bootleg. But just so you know, we've got the title up at the top. We then get the display of the figure. We can see the figure itself and some of the interchangeable options. Age 17 plus. We get some nice artwork at the bottom here. Hanma Yujiro, another title. We've got this side of the packaging, the other side of the packaging, which I think is the exact same, and then the back of the box, where again we get the title, picture of the figure, all the interchangeable parts, clothing, accessories, some more logos and whatnot at the bottom of the box here. Let's get this guy out. So there is a lot to look at with our Storm Collectibles bootleg figure here. Let's start with the clothing. So we get a top and bottom part of the clothing here. We get this t-shirt. Looks like the neckline is just cut into the fabric, but all the stitching looks pretty nice. We've got a wee bit of string overhanging here, but this looks really good so far, and we can see what it looks like on the figure later on. We then get the trousers, and this is velcroed around the cardboard here. So undoing that, and try and pull it off the cardboard. Don't want to break anything, but yeah, we can see the trousers here, and I'm presuming they will just slip onto Yujiro, strap it round, and I think these are going to look pretty great. The leg holes at the bottom are very small, so I hope they're pretty well elasticated, because I can't imagine that's going to work too greatly. But yeah, we'll see what it looks like as the video goes on. More interested in taking a look at the figure itself first, and so let's jump into some of the interchangeable parts. First of all, we've got these interchangeable feet. I will port these onto the figure later on. We do have some scuffing straight away, just with some black marking on the top of the foot there, but sculpted really well. Toe articulation, I think these look pretty damn good. On the figure is some sort of plimsoll shoe, so yeah, we can swap them about later on and see what that looks like. We get two sort of flat open hands here, or some karate chopping hands, but these look again really nicely sculpted. You can see the definition in the back of the hands, the big knuckles here. Yeah, these look great. We get these two more open hands, and yeah, no scuffage on these. Again, got the same nicely sculpted details. We then get these two pointing hands, and that index pointing finger is kind of rubbery. It actually moves around a lot, which is kind of unusual. I've not really had a figure that feels like that before. It's definitely not bad. I don't think it's going to break off. Just find it kind of amusing. We then get these slightly open hands, or going to grab hands. I had a quick play around with this figure, but I didn't actually go through all the interchangeable parts, and I'm just noticing how soft the plastic is on all these bits where the fingers are very movable and rubbery. And again, it's just not something I've had on a figure in the past, so this is definitely interesting. Again, I don't think it's bad. I'm just yeah, experiencing it for the first time, and it's pretty cool. There's then these slightly more open hands, which are very similar to the last ones, just with more sprawled out fingers. And then lastly, for the hands, we get these more kind of neutral, relaxed hands that are just, yeah, they're not really posed or anything. Pretty impressed with the quality of all those interchangeable hands. There was only that slight scuffage on one of the feet, but all the hands were great, and these interchangeable heads look fantastic. You never know what you're going to get with a bootleg, and with how impressed I was with the original look to the Storm Collectibles Yujiro Hanma, I really was not sure what to expect from this £20 version of a £180 figure, but it looks like they have absolutely nailed it. There's definitely not as much paint definition as I would expect from the £180 version, but the sculpt looks absolutely spot on, and the paint application is great. I'm just going to turn up the brightness a wee bit here. The expression is gnarly. You've got those big eyebrows, that maniacal grin here, and the hair is just flowing all the back the way. Again, another tone through the hair I think would really make this thing pop, but we're talking about a £20 bootleg here. This definitely has impressed me so far. And I think maniacal is the right word, because we then get this even more crazy head sculpt here, bringing the one that we just looked at in. It looks like this is a sort of star out rage mode, and then he goes absolutely Super Saiyan with this head here. And again, something I've not seen on a figure before is what they've done in the mouth area here. It is just a gap between the top lip and the bottom. Of course we see the teeth, but there is no tongue area. It is just see-through. And I think that's really interesting. Again, I don't think it's bad. I don't necessarily think it's great. It's just something that I've not noticed on a figure before, is this gappage on the face sculpt here. And I think that's really interesting. Again, we have these crazy eyebrows. The eyes are really close together this time around. And the hair is nuts, kind of flowing back up the way. This is really cool. I'm really impressed with this. And then I'd say this one is more similar to the one that's ported onto the figure. He is still looking pretty angry here, but again, not as angry as these other ones. If I can line it up here, we can see that he is just getting progressively more insane. And forgive me for my lack of knowledge on BAKI here, but I'm presuming that this is pretty canon, something similar to like Dragon Ball, where he is going like Super Saiyan. It looks like there's a sort of progression here, and yeah, it looks incredible here in figure form, going right to left with this just nuts look for Yujiro Hanma. But to just have a closer look at this one again, yeah, no paint marks really. Is that something in this crevice here? Maybe just a slight dot. In fact, am I getting that? Now there's a slight dot next to his mouth there. But the eyes are really nicely painted with that sort of pearlescent white. The eyebrows again. The sculpt is just spot on. These head sculpts look amazing. And that leaves us with the figure itself. So to start with the head sculpt, this is the most neutral, normal looking head sculpt that we get on the figure. I think maybe his eyes are slightly misprinted, like the one on the right looks more off-center than the one on the left, but overall, again, for a £20 bootleg, man, this looks really great. When you're talking about £200 for an action figure, you can only imagine the quality of that figure. You would be expecting some, you know, Hot Toys level detail, and so to get a £20 version from AliExpress that looks this good, I'll take the eye being slightly off center, you know. It does look as well like maybe some of the paint from the hair has ran down a slight tad onto his forehead there, but again, not something that's ruining this piece for me. And I probably won't use this head sculpt as much as the others. I do like all the more angrier, crazier expressions that we've already looked at. We can see I've got a sort of mullet on this head sculpt here with the way it's flowing down his back as opposed to up in the air, and it looks like there's sort of two levels to that. We can see this brighter painted layer at the bottom, which is separate to the top of the hair. But yeah, I think this head sculpt overall really good, same quality as the others, apart from maybe that paint drippage at the top. It looks banging, and man, the rest of this piece looks absolutely excellent. I mean, the sculpt is outrageous. Look at his chest, look at the six pack. This is the most built figure I've ever seen in my life. This guy has been on every PED known to man. Look at the back, and just what's so good about this knockoff is not only have they got a sculpt which looks pretty accurate to the original as far as I can tell, he looks like a complete beast. I mean, the cherry on top with this piece is the definition in the paint here. You can see every crevice, every sculpted detail on this piece due to the different tones with the paint on this knockoff here. I mean, look at the back. Every muscle is showing, and I think it just looks amazing. I think this bootleg is well worth the price. You can see there is a sort of mark here on his back that I've just noticed, like a slight crack. Again, nothing that's really gonna be disappointing for me. I will just keep my eye on that when I'm posing them around, but got the triceps, everything is looking absolutely nuts here. Going into the legs, got those mental thighs. This guy did not skip leg day. Yeah, look at those calves, man. That is nuts. Some slight scuffage again here, but nothing major. Yeah, this is CT Toys level of bootleg. This is definitely, if not one of the best bootlegs that I have now in the collection. I'm going to put the feet over and try put his trousers on at the same time, see what that looks like. Jeez, oh guys, so I took the feet off, took the plimsolled shoed feet off and got the trousers on. They were really hard to get on. As I pointed out at the start, the leg holes at the bottom were pretty small, and the one in the waist area was also pretty small compared to his insanely ginormous legs, especially the thighs. So you do really need to just keep pushing them up ever so slightly, grab the waistband, keep pulling and pulling, and eventually you'll get it up over onto the waist area, and Bob's your uncle. You're gonna have Yujiro's trousers on like so. I think these look pretty good, especially, again, I keep saying it, for a £20 AliExpress bootleg. The feet have ported on perfectly, and this is probably my favourite look for the figure. I will try and stick to this head sculpt. I'm not sure if I will ever swap the head sculpts over again, because this figure is built differently, and I'm not just talking about the look of him. When I took that initial head sculpt off, the peg that it's attached to came flying up. Alright, so there was a massive long peg coming out of his neck, and I thought, okay, no problem, it'll go back down. Went to put this head sculpt on, and the peg just like disappeared into his neck, and I thought it was game over. I thought I was just going to have to blue tack the head sculpt on. But then I took him apart here, so I pulled this apart, it split, and inside you can see the way that the arms are joined together. So there's like a middle part that both arms are joined onto, and at the top there is a port for the peg that the head's attached to. And so basically I had to find the port for the peg and push it back onto that with the head sculpt, and now we're here. He's looking pretty awesome, but that was nuts. That did take way longer than I was expecting, so definitely be wary when you're swapping the head sculpts over. The trousers are going to be a bit of a pain, but once they're on, you're not going to have too much issues. That head sculpt swap was torturous. So as always, I do want to compare this figure to some other figures that I have in the collection, give an idea of scale and whatnot, but I don't really have many figures to compare this guy to. He is very much going to be a standalone figure in the collection. These are the only other anime figures I actually have. We've got Vegeta and Goku. Is this Bandai? This is like the Dragon Ball Stars figures they're called. They're the kind of budget version of these anime figures, and Goku and Vegeta being my kind of favourite anime characters, that is why I've got them here. I do have the SH Figuarts Super Saiyan Sun, is it Super Saiyan Sun Goku? I don't know, it is the best looking Goku figure of all time, so I have that pre-ordered. It's already out, they're doing a re-release, and so it should be in the collection around October, and I will definitely be making a video on that figure, and I will be sure to pose him next to Yujiro Hanma here. But for the time being, it's these Dragon Ball Stars figures. I really need to find out what company it is, but we can see that they are in a totally different scale to our much bigger Yujiro Hanma here. So to bring in a couple of larger scaled figures, we've got Marvel Select and NECA, and we can see that this Storm Collectibles bootleg is bigger yet again. These are around 7 inches, so this must be standing around 8 to 9, and yeah, just proportion wise, height wise, he's going to struggle to scale with these bigger figures in my collection. Bringing in a couple of McFarlane figures, we've got Hush Batman and Hush Superman. And Hush Batman, we're starting to get there. I actually think these scale alright next to one another, and I could definitely take some pictures with Yujiro and Batman battling it out. Hush Superman, however, is standing still a lot smaller than Yujiro here, but McFarlane figures don't even scale well with one another, so it is to be expected. And just for a quick reference, here's a couple of standard Marvel Legends figures with the retro carded Spidey and the Amazing Friends 3-pack Spider-Man on the AF15 mould, and yeah, we can see how much bigger our bootleg is here. And so there we have it for our £20 AliExpress version of the Yujiro Hanma Storm Collectibles action figure. Again, originally retailing at around $200 here in the UK. I am incredibly impressed with this bootleg. Again, it is CT Toys level. I think they have absolutely nailed the sculpt of everything here in front of us. The clothing parts are really good quality. I think the downfall of this piece is it is really fidgety and torturous when it comes to the interchangeable parts. I mean, the head sculpt, of course, being the worst. That was nuts, having to align the peg and get it swapped over and make sure everything was hitting right so it wasn't just crumbling apart. The left foot is a wee bit loose as well when it is ported onto the leg, and of course getting those trousers up over the legs was quite of a bit of a hassle as well, but we got there in the end, and the end result is of course this incredible looking cheap version of this amazing looking piece, and I am so stoked to actually get this figure in the collection, even if it is a replica. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. While you're down there, guys, if you could do me a massive favour, as always, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, then please hit that subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, I'll leave the link to my Instagram down in the description below, and it would mean a lot if you could hop on over there and check that out as well. I'll post a lot of pictures of Yujiro up on over there, and it would mean a lot if you could check out the Instagram page. Thank you guys so much for watching this video right here. Feel free to hop on over to the channel page, check out any of my other videos, or click one of the ones that are going to pop up in front of you. And as always, I'll catch yous on the flip-flop later. Cheers.